Hi everyone, it's Vanessa. I'm the founder of Chakrubs, and we are about to start our first segment of Meet the Freaks. This is a collaboration between Chakrubs and Freak Magazine, where we're bringing special guests on to share their gifts with our community. I thought it would be something that would be really beautiful to do in this time. And so the first guest that we're going to have on is Maria Soledad. Maria Soledad is this incredible alchemy tarot reader and astrologer. She's studied with Alejandro Jodorowsky and his son. She has been a personal guide for me for years, and I've sent all of my family and friends to her. She is somebody who I trust immensely with the idea of spiritual growth. And so I wanted to bring her on as our first guest, as she has helped me so much, and I feel like I want to just show her off and have her give some insight into everything that's kind of going on. So just sit back and enjoy, and let me just bring her on. Okay. Hi, Maria.
Hi, beautiful. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I'm so excited, like I said, so everybody knows what you have to offer, so we can just dive in.
Okay, great. So I want to start with, first of all, of course, thank you for this opportunity. Meet the Freaks. I love the name. I love the whole innuendo there. And I really appreciate this opportunity. As I was telling you before, I've been receiving a lot of information. I have this thing since I was a little girl that I've been very connected to all these other forces around us. And yeah, I've been receiving a lot. So I really needed an opportunity, a platform, a window for me to share. And so this is it. So let's just dive into it. Thank you everyone for being here. And so I'm going to start with, where's your heart? This is how I call it. So the first thing that I've been receiving a lot, and it's a huge download, is that it's very easy to get very confused, and the frequency of panic or being in fear, it's actually something that is easily manifested in our lives right now, because the first thing that is happening is that we're listening too much of everything that we need to do. Everyone is telling us what we need to do, what we need to feel. Everyone is telling us what is better for you to do, what is better for you to feel, where you're supposed to be right now. If you have this process, if you've been having this awakening, if you've been having this, you're supposed to be doing this, you're supposed to be feeling that, you're supposed to be doing that way. And those things, even though everyone is coming from a place of love, as we all are, and everyone is trying to do their best, we need to make sure that everything that we are going to do in this moment, whatever it is, it's coming from our own personal wisdom. Yeah. Why? Because the actual download of these times is that we're asked, in this case, forced to go within. Mm-hmm. To realize that we have something that we came here to share, each one of us, even if it's literally in something that is serving another directly, or just by being yourself, you are already serving. So the most important thing right now is that we take a moment and just sit down for a second, and ask yourself, where's my heart in all of this? Mm. What is my actual opinion of what's going on? Yes. If someone that is kind of coming from another time, or someone that is going to come in the future, and you're going to tell them what happened today, what is going to be your experience of it, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than me sharing what the news said or what my family asked me to do because I need to do that. I'm not saying that we don't need to be listening to those things. Actually, spirituality and the sense of revolution inside of us makes us be absolutely alert and absolutely aware of what's going on around us. I'm just saying that come from a place that is you, and trust that. So as a practice, it's just kind of like having a moment each day that you wake up, or one day, just one day that you wake up and you ask yourself, what is it that I really feel about this situation? What's going on in me? What is what I'm receiving as well? Because everyone has the same powers. Everyone can receive, everyone can download, right? So it's kind of like, ask yourself, what is this situation really means? And what is the thing that I really feel about this? And why am I doing what I am doing? Right. Why am I staying home?
Oh, I love that.
Right? It's kind of like, we know what we're doing it, but some of us are just automatically going there. Definitely, we need to stay home, but it's important that you come from a place that you're doing it from your actual convincing experience. You're convincing yourself that you're coming from you. This is what these times are all about. This is the greatest download that I've been receiving. The most important thing about everything is happening, instead of focusing on the actual manifestations of this, is focus on what this is bringing. How people are coming together, how we are deciding to take care of others by staying home. This is the first time that one thing that we've been sharing in our sessions, and we've been sharing with people all over since years now, is when you take care of yourself, you're taking care of others. Yeah. Now it's more than clear and obvious that that is the truth. So if you take that principle and you apply it to what happens if I go to my heart and I see what is my actual download, what is my actual feel about this situation, and you go from there, I can assure you that not only you're going to feel more present, but also you're going to feel in absolute purpose.
Oh, I love that so much.
Does that make sense? You feel it?
So much sense, because we're so worried that we have to do all these things, take care of all these precautions, and like you said, it's an automatic thing, and that's when we start to feel powerless. That's when I start to feel powerless. It's like, oh, okay, did I wash my hands enough, and did I do this? But if I'm connecting with that why I'm doing this, and I really understand why I'm doing it, I think that stress will go away, because it's purpose driven, and it's more connected to my heart, like you're saying. And I've also been thinking about, how am I going to talk about this time in the future?
Exactly.
How am I going to say I was? And I've been thinking about that a lot, and that's been giving me a little bit more of a grounded approach, because I want to be proud of myself when I'm, about how I approach this situation, and I want to be centered in myself. So I love that.
Yay, exactly. Yeah. And according to what you're saying about the question, it's like, I've been imagining that we're going to be in books, and not even books, maybe just like crystals that are going to project a hologram of the history, So how do you want that crystal to project what happened to you? Like, this is the times that we're going through. It's a time that started out astrologically wise. It has an explanation. It's all the experience of Uranus in Aries was the revolution of the self. So it's the selfish, it's everyone sharing what they want, it's social media, all this experience of being myself. And now Uranus is in Taurus. So it's kind of like how that affect how I show up in the world, and how I own my incarnation, my body, my experience, my senses, right? So this is kind of like practice. Yeah. And so in that sense, we are invited with this situation to focus on what is the actual transition coming from doers, which is kind of like the whole conditioning that we've been brought into, doers to beings, which is what we really are. You are doing when you are. You don't necessarily have to be doing an actual thing to be serving or to be giving something. So by asking yourself how you feel about this and creating your own personal opinion, completely not biased by anything, that's when you really get into your actual truth. And this is actually what this situation is asking for us. So you're kind of like checking those boxes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that being said, I would like to keep going with what we're talking about around the situation, right? So the first thing is what we just said, just sit down, have a moment and realize. And then the other thing that I've been receiving is also asking ourselves, what is this situation? What is this situation for me? That will be kind of like how you feel, but also what this means for us. And so in that sense, I feel it's very clear for all of us that the personal awakening is now never going to be any more personal. Like what we are experiencing now applies to all of us, right? Now more than ever is very clear, because in the physical world is also happening as well. But it's kind of like a moment for us to realize that everything that we are asking for is here. Mm. Even if we're seeing the first time that we knew about this situation, this virus, the first thing, of course, was fear. What's going on? This is the enemy. This is something that I don't like. It's bad. Our egos are going immediately to create, like, what's my opinion around it? It's bad. I don't like it. Enemy, right? It's labeled like that. But actually, if you see how everything is unfolding, it's pretty much manifestation basics. Like when you want something and you leave it to the universe or God or love or whatever you call it, your true self, to manifestation, it rarely comes in the exact way that you want it. Right? You probably manifest the same thing most of the times, but the process getting there, it's completely different. Right. Actually, sometimes you actually think, what am I doing? This is not at all taking me to what I want to go, but I'm just going to trust it. I'm just going to go, right? Letting go of the outcome. But at the same time, most of the times we're kind of like, this is crazy. That comes the saying of God works in mysterious ways, right? Like you never understand what's going on, and then you get there where you want it to be. So in this sense, what about if you start questioning how this situation is not an enemy, but actually is something that we ask for? This has been the only way that every single person, no matter how their process is and how they are awakening in this moment, everyone is being aware of how much we need to be responsible, consume in a way that is more aware and conscious, and how much we are interconnected to each other. Mm-hmm. Months ago, when people were going out into the streets screaming and in anger and saying what they think, we weren't as together and as connected as we are right now. And the connection that we're having right now is total love. I'm in Madrid, which is one of the places that is supposed to be kind of like the worst. But it's been amazing to see that every night at 8 p.m., we've been asked, and we've been doing it for days now, like 2 weeks. We've been asked to go to our balconies or our terraces or our windows to applaud the medical personnel and everyone that is working in the stores, in food, grocery shops. And everyone comes together, people that I never met before from my own street. Now we're talking from balcony to balcony, asking each other, did you eat today? Are you okay? My neighbor put some lemons in my door the other day because she knows that I eat lemons every day. She placed 2 bags of lemons in my door. It's like, that never happened before. That never happened before. And I'm this kind of person that I'm always smiling, always happy, right? And so imagine the other kind of person that is kind of like more shy and they don't want to talk to anyone. So in that sense, what this situation is showing us is that probably we ask for this. We ask for a way that we will finally get to realize how important it is to connect to ourselves, because it's the only way that we can connect to others.
Yes.
That's every time I'm thinking about all the people that is in their homes that today is my day 14. And every time I'm thinking about that, I'm kind of like saying, we cannot go wrong with this, because if everyone is by themselves in their homes, looking within, they're going to find God. Mm-hmm. They're going to find love. They're going to find joy. They're going to find our natural state. So in that sense, this is what this situation is showing us. And allow yourself also to pick what you feel that it resonates, from with you from what I'm saying. Allow yourself to pick from other sources. But at the end of the day, allow yourself to only listen to what you are feeling. And I'm sure that if you go there, you're going to find this part of you that is kind of like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening. We're all coming together. This is a new earth. This is a new beginning.
Thank you. Everybody is like just feeling, I know I've been peeking at some comments. Everybody is getting chills or just feeling what you're saying so much, but you just went blank. So there you are.
Okay. Now, right? I'm back.
You're back. Thank you for that. That message is just so clear. And people are saying, they have felt this, but you put it into words so perfectly.
Of course, everyone is, thank you for sharing with me that, because I'm not able, if I'm downloading, I cannot read, but I'm sure that everything that I'm saying is everything that you know. As I always tell you in our sessions, I'm not even here. I'm just channeling for you to be able to articulate it yourself. Everything that I'm sharing is something that you know, but you needed like a little poke, like a little click for you to kind of like use it and know that it's kind of like part of you. So that being said, I want to go into feelings, because another experience, and right before we go into the tools.
Okay.
Another thing that is very clear with this is that, and this is let's say, a little advanced download, advanced in a sense that you need to have a lot of self-work already to kind of like really go into this, but you can also try it out whatever you are in your process. And it's that, check out what are the emotional responses that are coming through this time. These times in which you are forced to be at your place, maybe by yourself or maybe with someone else, but definitely it's a disruption in your everyday routine. Maybe it's bringing up a lot of fears if you're someone that needs to go to work at a certain place and they haven't allowed you to work from place or from your place, or whatever is your situation that you're wondering about the future. Allow yourself to feel those things, because we go back to the beginning, as in the actions that everyone is telling us what to do, how to do it, what you're supposed to be doing. And also we can get that you're supposed to feel this way. You're supposed to be okay with that. Right. You're working on this and this and that. You're so spiritual. You're this, you're that. So you're supposed to be coping with this very well. You're not supposed to be feeling anything, my dear loves, nothing. You're not supposed to be feeling anything more than what you're feeling. And if you're able to realize that actually most of the emotions that you're feeling right now are not necessarily for you to feel them and indulge in them and identify with them especially, but for you to see them with a certain distance and realize through these emotions that you're getting, that you're realizing that you're feeling with everything every day, you can create a little personal history of your own narrative. In these kind of moments of crisis, of uncertainty, when we haven't tapped into uncertainty as bliss, which is actually that energy of infinite possibilities, it's a moment that we are kind of like in literal survival. Literal survival. Our egos, our system goes into survival, right? So it's gonna bring up in you the things that, not that your true colors, nothing like that, but it's gonna bring in you the things that you need to work on to connect even more to who you really are. To connect even more to your sense of wholeness, right? So in that sense, allow yourself to check out those emotions and not judge yourself because you're feeling them. Don't judge yourself if you're going into fear one day, once in a day, or you're getting anxiety or something like that. But allow yourself to see it. If you need to feel it for a second, if you embrace it, I can assure you that it's going to last 5 minutes, tops 10 minutes, because you're embracing it, because you're mothering the emotion. But another thing that is going to happen if you do that is that you're going to find that there's a distance now. You're kind of like allowing that thing to sit right next to you. That you're saying, welcome, my divine anxiety, and sit down here. Do you want some tea? I'm having this amazing tea here. It's roses, so maybe we can share it, right? If you give your anxiety a little tea, your anxiety is going to be another friend.
I love that so much.
It's gonna be another person that you're gonna take care of as if it was yourself. It's like if you come today to me, Vanessa, and you tell me I'm anxious about this, I'm not gonna hate you. I'm not gonna say, what are you saying? You're supposed to be feeling this and that. No, I'm gonna welcome you. I'm gonna try to make it whatever I can for you. I'm gonna be there for you. And sometimes the only thing that we need to hear is not taking us out of the anxiety, which is the conditioning that we have. That we need to feel better, that we need to get out of it, that we need to not feel it. No, sometimes the only thing that you want from another person, if you want that, is someone who says, I get it. I totally get it. So if you can do that, not to yourself, remember, you are not your emotions.
Right.
To the emotion that you're feeling, if you can ask that emotion, what's going on, and you try to understand why you feel that way, if you can see behind the scenes, you can take distance from it, and you can actually just be there for it. Because if you take yourself as the center, a vortex of which all these things are attracted to. All these emotions that you're having, they are just wanting to come back home. They want to be a part of you. They want to be addressed. They want to be acknowledged. Yeah. So again, we are not in a place in which you are supposed to feel them. If in your evolution, you realize that there's moments in your life that you're supposed to kind of like just go into it and feel everything and just go for it. But if you have already felt them, if you have already integrated in a mental, in a cognitive level, in an emotional level, you know where these emotions are coming from. You know your patterns, you know your conditioning, you know that you have transcended it. This is just showing up for you to create new habits according to your new evolution. These emotions are here for you to polish them. So the whole download goes down to, it's gold in what you're feeling. There's gold in what you're feeling. So use it. It's shiny, it's gorgeous, and you can wear it. So allow yourself to find the jewel, the gem that is behind, the treasure that is behind the things that you're feeling. Don't reject them. Don't judge them. Allow yourself to sit down with them, have some tea, and realize that you can take these things now and that you can create a sense of your own personal narrative. You can realize, oh, this has been my theme. I always respond like this to this, to this, to this, to that. Doesn't matter that it's a global pandemic or that I didn't do the laundry and I have this amazing date. It's the same emotional response. Yeah. So if you can be able to see that in this kind of like sporty, playful, kind of like casual way, you're going to be able to play with them and you're going to be experiencing the sense of wholeness. So what's the result of this piece? Complete peace.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Personifying your emotions, but not identifying with them, nurturing them, letting them know that they're acknowledged and they're there to show you something that is valuable to your growth.
Exactly. And not assuming them as this is myself.
Right.
Because you're going to start getting into separation with you. And what you want is wholeness. Yeah. So in that sense, you can distance from them as in, this is another friend. I'm going to treat it as that. And I'm going to welcome this friend back home.
Yeah.
Right? Because all these parts are asking for wholeness. And this is an amazing, take it that this is like the most amazing laboratory, like a PhD in being human. Right? Yeah. After this, if you really get through the integration, you're going to be a superhuman. You're going to be this amazing, super high vibration experience of yourself. Yeah. Your whole potential is going to be there for you because you have access to it. You have gone into your shadows. You have wear your shadows. You're dancing and loving every part of you.
Yeah.
And so that is one of the amazing opportunities that is coming out of this.
Yeah, definitely. We have the time to do that. So anybody that felt, bombarded by everything, I feel like for a lot of people, things have slowed down to give that opportunity.
Exactly. It's slow down. Like, you love that. It's slow down. Take a moment. Take a pause.
Yeah.
Take a pause. Make that your new mantra. Pause. Wait a second. Wait a second. Everything is changing and everything is going to change. And one of those things that is very much changing is the pace.
Yeah.
And so that takes me to the tools. So we were talking about in what to expect. We were talking about realizing all the tools that you already have, that you have collected during your process, but also the ones that you don't know of. So the tools that you already have is something that I've been doing as myself as a practice, and is that you need to start taking stock. Like, what I mean is that when you see your ego spiraling down, and this is a very powerful tool, if you see your ego spiraling down, or a part of you that is starting to wonder what's going to happen, or you saw the news, or you listen to someone that said something, or you're definitely spiraling down. If you take a moment to kind of like, again, distance from that and immediately take a stock of what you've been doing. What I mean by that is that all this community, this gorgeous community of Chakrubs that is here, all the people that is drawn to this moment, to hear us here, I'm sure all of you have a sense of responsibility of yourself. That's why you're here. That's why you're drawn to work with this magnificent, super powerful woman and her ideas that are genius. So if you definitely are in that place, you must be already very healthy, very responsible. So it's very calming for that part of your ego that is very much in survival, when you can list all the things that you do every day already. Like, for example, if you, before going to bed, you're feeling that anxiety and you go into, okay, it's been like 4 years that I've been drinking turmeric every morning. It's been 4 years or 2 years or 1 year that I am very responsible with what I eat, in a sense that I'm not thinking about just dying to look good, but I'm thinking about feeling good. I'm thinking about food for energy, for myself to feel great, for myself to feel healthy. I want to live more. I'm realizing that I have a lot of things that I want to share. So I want to sleep more. Maybe you're doing what I've been doing for 5 years, which is 1 day of hibernation. Yes. I'm already an expert in quarantine. You know, and it's been 5 years that I've been having 1 day a week that I'm hibernating. So maybe you're doing that too. Maybe you're realizing that you've been kind of like for a month, for 2, for 1 year, disconnecting in a certain moment of the day from your phone. If you realize you already are very healthy, you already are very conscious and aware, you already are very responsible. And if you go out, if you need to go out to buy some grocery shopping, you're going to see that you're buying the same thing that you were buying before this whole thing. You're not getting 10,000 things of the same. You're just buying the same. It's kind of like, take a stock of how you've been living your life. Mm-hmm. The fact that the entire planet is in panic doesn't mean that you have to, because maybe getting to this point, you are one of those people that ask for some transformation like this. So remember who you are and remember what you already have. You already have a lot of tools to deal with this. You can find yourself maybe, and this is something that has been my personal experience, you can find yourself extremely peaceful at this moment and in extreme presence. And you are going to hear, I call it a radio, that there's this radio right here, like one station that is saying you're supposed to be worried. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be calling everyone and asking if they are okay, so they know that you are worried too. Mm. You're supposed to be sharing everything that you're feeling. You're supposed to be commenting everything, every news, every day. You're supposed to be using this time to critique this, to say that, to, you know. And this is a station. You don't have to tune in. You can allow your stations to be all about focusing on this that you have. If you go back to, wait a second, I'm at peace, not because I'm crazy, but because I've been working for this.
Oh, yes.
I have the tools. It doesn't matter. Everything that you do in your inner work is not for you to live in a world that nothing happens. No, it's for you to keep living here, please, because we came for orgasms and pay bills. 2 things, both of them. We came for both. We came for having all the orgasms in the world. Yay! But also we came to pay bills, to do the line, to go in to buy this thing, to have to take a plane to go there. We're not teletransporting yet, so we need to take the plane. We need to do this, we need to, right? So it's kind of like you came here for both. Both are love. Yeah. So in that sense, you are doing your self-work. Of course, the first motivation, of course, is that you wanted to feel good. You wanted to be better. You wanted to experience your actual potential. But once you are all the way in, you realize, this is not taking me anywhere, right? I'm not going anywhere. I'm actually experiencing the same, or of course in an improved way, but the actual thing that is happening because of my self-work is that I am able to sustain my actual self, my actual peace, and my power in every given situation. Any given situation, I am the same. I'm bringing my divine, gorgeous, wrapped in tool self to business, to relationships, to the bathroom, to the street, to the session, to this, everything. That is wholeness. And so in that sense, allow yourself to, what you were saying before, I want to be proud of myself when I remember this time and when I'm telling someone about it. Allow yourself to be proud if you're feeling peace, if you're feeling a sense of presence, if you're taking your time, if you're secretly, as I call it, because it's still, you need to be very sensitive around the rest of the people, as in being very kind of like secretly enjoying what's happening. Yeah. Right? Of course, not that I'm not taking in consideration, that we're not taking in consideration the people that is suffering, or the people that is actually sick, or people that is going through very hard times. But of course, we're taking that in, we're feeling for them. But the only thing that we can do in this new experience is send all the love and all the light that we can, And it's definitely something that is being asked for all of us right now. The power is in where are you coming from, not necessarily what you end up doing.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh my God, such sense. And everybody is loving that. What you said. We're here to orgasm, pay bills, everything is, I just thank you so much for that. That was so beautiful. Beautifully
sure
put.
I'm so happy to do it. So the other little piece around tools before we go into the tarot, because I want to share something from this amazing tool, is focus on what you have. Okay, I wanted to say this, we need to say this. This is the moment to practice all of that. What that means is that this is the moment to walk the talk. All these kind of like meetings, meditations that we go to, sound baths,
right?
All these online courses or in-presence courses as before, whatever that we've been doing, that we sit down and talk and we're like, it's so nice to be here together in the presence of each other, that we are all these people coming today, that people is always saying, oh my gosh, I love that it's 20 people today coming to this event. It means that we're more, all of that. Well, it was beautiful to talk about it, but now it's time to use it.
Yep.
Now it's time to apply it. So, because it's not going to be anything. Remember, you are a human being. Human being means that you have a sense of yourself that needs to experience itself. Like there's a part of you that is all essence, and we came here into incarnation to experience that essence. If you don't have a body, if you don't sweat, if you don't smell, if you don't need to go to bed, if you don't need to eat, you cannot experience this. It's kind of like the perks that come with wanting to experience the divine or the goddess or the God in you, right? So in that sense, everything in our lives has to be verified. This is from Kundalini Yoga, have to be verified. You have to verify everything. I really need to share this experience of, don't buy into what you think you know. Like everything, if you make a list, all the things that you know are probably, most of them, you're going to see that are things that someone told you.
Yeah.
Right? Like you woke up one day in this world and someone told you like, oh, this is the way that this thing works. So you better do it that way. Right? And you have never kind of like questioned why is my actual experience of this? I'm going to verify it. Right? So in that sense, everything that we've been working on, if you are alive right here, right now, in this planet, and you resonate to this that we're talking about, or you resonate with other downloads and other sources that talk about the experience of being human and the experience of wholeness, it's because you are meant to practice everything that you have learned. It means that everything that you have done so far in your life until this point is for today. Everything, all the traumas, all the problems that you've been having, all the crying, all the why is this happening to me, all the sessions, everything that you have done in your life, all the Chakrubs, everything is for this particular moment, my dear loves. So you said, that's the new get to work. The new get to work is sit down, open your legs, and allow your experience to be birthed. And allow your experiences to be out of you, and also allow yourself to be penetrated, allow yourself to be completely possessed by this experience. That is the feminine, the fierce feminine that we're working for. That is the balancing between the divine masculine and the fierce feminine. That is the actual divine masculine, trust and presence. Don't hate the masculine, it's amazing. We need it right now. This is the integration of the masculine, trust and presence. So in that sense, that is kind of like the tools that you don't know of, right? That you have, that we talk about in the what to expect. This is the tools that you don't know of. You have been working for this moment. Now you get to practice. So stop thinking about it. Stop talking about it with all the people that is also wearing these amazing tunics and beautiful high priestess dresses. And just, well, they're wearing that because that has a purpose. The tunics and all of that is because they're floating. They're kind of like feeling I don't know, I'm just making something up. But I mean, it's like, use the uniform now. Like it's the moment to see what is the utility, what is the actual practice of what you have learned. So it's a moment of practice what you preach, walk the talk.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that being said, let's move into the tarot. Any questions? You want to ask something, my dear? Or you feel that there's someone asking something? Or should I keep going?
Yeah, just keep going. Everybody's absolutely loving you, giving you so much appreciation for this. And I mean, just do it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay,
so much love is coming your way.
Oh my gosh, I feel it. I'm like bursting. I feel it. I thank you so much. Okay, so what I want to share about the tarot is this is a tool that I work with, as you beautifully said before. It's the particular tool that Alejandro Jodorowsky restored. So it's a different tarot. It's the Evolutive Tarot of Marseille. It's the traditional French tarot, but this one has been restored to give it a whole different meaning. So it's for the work that you also describe about me. That is to go into the unconscious and hunt for conditioning patterns, belief systems that are holding you back. And the entire purpose of the work is that you break free and you realize your infinite potential, right? So that being said, this kind of like the 22 major arcana are kind of like my team, right? I work with them all the time. And so every single moment that there's a kind of like a global experience, I really want to see what are the arcanas that we're working with, because these are archetypes that are imprinted in the collective unconscious, and that we can work with them, embody them, and channel them in order for us to move into an aspect of ourselves. So the ones that I've been receiving that we're working with for this situation are the Hangman and the Hermit.
Wow.
In this order, they're supposed to be like this. This is the 9 and this is the 12. So this will come first, but I'm feeling that this is coming first. And so let's go a little bit in the Hangman. So first of all, there's no reason to be scared of the Hangman. I have to say it because some of the times, and I was one of those people that before working with the tarot, I was scared of this card, especially for the interpretation in the Rider deck. The Hangman is a moment of losing everything, and it's kind of like a moment that you're kind of like with nothing, and you are nothing, and you have nothing, or at least that's my interpretation from the deck of the Rider. But in this case, the Hangman is this moment that I love, and Jodorowsky says this himself, is the gift of yourself. The gift of yourself, for us to understand it a little better, is that we realize at some point in the journey that we are no longer identifying with who we think we are. And more than that, because he hasn't come into identity yet, is that you are not identifying anymore with the things that you are seeing, with your creations, with, in this case, society, the culture, how it's going, the government, the system. All those things are things that we are not really seeing our power, all the work that I'm doing, the inner work, the feelings that I have when I meditate. I don't see it here. I don't see it in this system. I don't see it in this. I don't see that in this unfairness. I don't see it in this constant work playing on power that someone is above and someone has to be below. I don't see it, right? So for you to really kind of like go over this or overcome this, you need to what? Step back. You need to get out. And that's what the Hangman is doing. The Hangman is not only getting out of the play, and the example that I always use is that you've been creating a play your entire life. You wrote the play, you're acting in the play, you're producing, you're doing everything in the play. And it's been for years. It's like Cats. It's been for years. It's kind of like going, the stages are full of people, audiences keeps going, keeps buying tickets. And one day you decided, I'm not going to go into the stage today. I'm going to watch the play. And you see it, and it's awful. You're kind of like, why people is still buying this ticket? I don't get it. Why? I'm the worst actor ever. I'm the worst director. The producer. My gosh, nothing here is beautiful, right? But instead of just sitting down and crying over what you did, the Hangman goes a little further, and it's that it shifts perspective, right? So what that means is that you're seeing the play, you're saying, oh, this is awful. I don't know why people is coming to this. I am so embarrassed. But not only you stay here, but you're kind of like, wait a second. If I did this, which is, as you know, doing something awful is harder than doing something good. You know, it's harder to sustain something that is bad, right? So you realize, if I did this, I can do whatever I want. I can create. I am a creator. That's why it's the gift of yourself. When you realize that you always have the highest experience of consciousness is choice. When you realize that you have choice, you can do whatever you want. So I feel I've been receiving that the hangman is here because it's that experience that we need to take a pause. Sometimes in the hangman, the pause is because you said, you know what, I'm stepping back, I'm taking my moment, I'm going into this little retreat. But sometimes in the hangman, it also means that it's a forced pause, that you get sick, that you cannot get out of bed. In this case, that you cannot get out of your home. Wow. So we've been forced to pause, but not only to sit down and say, oh my gosh, the world is awful. I don't believe this. What am I going to do? This is no, for you to shift perspective. That is how the world is going to look like now. The hangman is extremely wise because this is the hair. The hair means that he's extremely wise, and his hands are tying in the back. He's tying his hands in the back because he's saying, I'm not making any choices anymore from ego, from conditioning. And that's why I started today saying you need to sit down before doing anything and ask yourself, where are you coming from and what you actually feel? Because otherwise, this whole movement and this whole crisis is not going to serve for anything because we're still doing what we are told and we're still not thinking or not going into our check-in. So that's the practice for the hangman. Check-in. Remember, every time you hear that check-in, your unconscious is going to go into those hotels. I don't know if there's still hotels like that, but that you go into the counter and right? That it was so gorgeous, and there's your suitcases and your gorgeous dress, and someone comes and helps you out. Well, the poetic of that is lost completely, I think. Well, maybe some places, but every time you think about it, because it's a collective unconscious, when you say check-in, your unconscious is going to go into bing. So if you can check in yourself and make that a practice of, I'm going to check in before making any decisions, before making any moves. The hangman is also this experience of the cocoon. The cocoon, the caterpillar doesn't even know what's going on, and there's a fight inside. If you read about the actual process, the imaginal cells is the name of the cells of the butterfly. It's amazing. They come and they have a whole new information than the information that the caterpillar has in their cell, in her cells or in his cells. So it's kind of like they are fighting each other because the new information needs to be born. This is exactly what is happening to our planet, to our world, to our society, to humanity. We are completely changing our cells, our DNA. We are transcending, ascending, right? So not because ascending is better, no, because we're going into a higher experience of ourselves. We're going into a complete whole experience of ourselves. So in that sense, we need a moment to cocoon. We need a moment to be in a place that is not here, not there, that is kind of like in between, that you're going to be a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but the only thing that you can do is what? That's why I have next, surrender the hermit. So the other download that came from the tarot is that we're working with the hermit because the hermit is the experience of surrender. But also the hermit, if you see, he's kind of like going backwards, if the way that you're going to see him, but no.
Oh, interesting.
But he's actually coming out of the 8. This is the 9. And the 8 is perfection, right? So what that means is that he realizes that he knows very well how to keep the charade going. Everything that I've been doing, I've been repeating, I've been doing because I have to, I've been obedient, I've been doing whatever I need to do, I've been believing the things that I've been told that I have to believe, I've been believing the things that I have to be, that I have to do. And then there's an awakening because of this, because of distance, because of the pause. And the hermit is like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't know where I'm going, but I'm coming from the idea of the masculine to the experience of the masculine. This is something that you know a lot about, right? That we've been talking about. Yeah. So it's the idea of the masculine is kind of like when you think that you are in masculine energy. So it means that you're responsible, you're taking care of things, you're very tough. You don't stop for nothing. You're kind of like invincible. That is not really masculine energy. The idea of the masculine is also when you're like, when people say, after this drink, I'm able to talk to that person. If I have that job, I can do that. If I talk to this person, I am able to say that or to do that. The idea of the masculine is something that you feel that you need to put more things in you in order to do yourself, show up, be yourself. The experience of the masculine, what the hermit is moving into, is that you don't need anything at all. That you don't need that. Actually, all the things that you were putting in, you're actually saying, you know what? I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. And you just show up. That's why he's not looking where he's going.
Oh, wow.
He's jumping into the unknown.
Mm.
So that's why I felt that it's after the hangman, even though this is the 9 and this is the 12. But in this case, I feel that we needed to have this moment of pause and complete like denial of this is radical. This is a very radical position in the arcana. It's a moment that nothing is happening, complete pause. And in this experience, well, that's what you think, because the greatest activity happens in the greatest stillness. He's in a cocoon. A butterfly is going to come out. But the appearance of the ego, or what the ego will think, is that nothing is happening because I need to move, I need to do, I need to be responsible, I need to show the people that I am worrying about everything.
Right.
So comes the hermit and it's like, okay, you know very well that thing that you're doing. Well, let's get out of this and jump into the unknown. This is the experience of trust and presence. So this is kind of like where we are moving into a world that we don't know about. We don't know how it's going to be in the practice, but we've been feeling it already, because that's what the hermit is bringing with him, his light, his own essence, his sense of self. If you have that, that's what I'm saying, connect to your heart, connect to your heart. If you have that, you can go anywhere and you're going to be okay.
Right.
The experience of the masculine, you feel protected, you feel taken care of, you feel that someone is having your back, and that you can just kind of like be and relax into it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we are going towards the end. And I wanted to close with my experience with your divine and genius world Chakrubs.
Oh, yes, please do. I'd love to hear.
So it's very, it's beautiful, because I want to share the title to start. I kind of like broke it down to, it's been an upgrade from dirty talk into hearty talk, right? So this is what happens with my experience with Chakrubs. And the little context is that when you have done a lot of work, definitely in a cognitive level and in an emotional level, there's a lot of things integrated. The next step is that you allow your body to keep up with that work. Mm-hmm. So what that means is that your entire set of habits, or your entire set of actions in your life, in your everyday life, are responding to the trauma or to the beliefs or to the conditioning that you have been playing out your entire life. Once the conditioning and the trauma is healed, integrated in the mind, in the level of the mind and in the level of the heart, it's not that in the body is also healed. It's healed, but your habits are probably still responding to the old experience. So you need to kind of like create an update in between both. And that is what practice is all about. That you not only need to know what your traumas are, or what your experience out of them, or the emotional experience of them, but then you need to kind of like bring your body into it and have that experience. So in my own personal experience in my sexual life, in creative and sexual life, I definitely have had the whole mind, cognitive level, emotional level integration. But in the specifics of sexuality, and in the realm of sexuality, in the specifics of my relationship with my body when it comes to sex or pleasure, more than sex pleasure, I didn't know until Chakrubs that I was still playing out the habits of the trauma.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Right? In my relationship with myself, maybe even with others, I am attracted to men, I'm straight. So let's say in relationship with men, I was already kind of like finding that new update. But in my own personal experience, when it comes to my own sense, my own self-practice of pleasure, I didn't realize that I was still playing with the trauma that I used to have, was feeling unworthy, feeling undeserving. So for me to get turned on, I needed to be kind of like in a fantasy of being treated like in a very poor way. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily kind of like someone mistreating me or abusing me. No, I didn't get to that level, but it was always kind of like very like diminishing me and making, like, you know, like talking dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Degrading and all of that. So then I ordered Chakrubs, and I was always attracted to the curve. And so I got it, and it was for the full moon in Aquarius last year. And it came here to Madrid very fast. And all the experience of it, unpacking it, the note that you sent, everything was already kind of like feeling you hugging me and feeling like a lot of love. I don't know if, of course, the rose quartz was there, of course, but I feel it's also your essence, and it's the purpose that is behind this amazing idea. I felt already like loved by this. And so I'm going to share something very personal here. So I kind of like, it was the moment of the full moon. Sometimes it's not necessarily at night, it's at day. In this case was in the day. And it was the summer, it was August. And it was very sunny here. You already see all the light that comes from here. There's a balcony here. And so I sat down here. I did the night before, I did the whole kind of like cleansing and consecrating it and the whole thing. And I sat here and I started kind of like going into the energy of the full moon in Aquarius, not even thinking about anything else, and which is unconditional love and all of that. And then I saw myself walking over my room, my bedroom, and I brought the curve, the heart with me. And I did intuitively what you ask us to do, that you place it first in your chest and kind of like have a moment first, and all the like have a little like first base and second base first with it. And so I intuitively did it. And I started feeling these voices inside of me, the same fantasy that I was playing before, that I needed to kind of like someone that is talking to me and saying those dirty things and degrading, right? I heard this person saying, I want you to be the mother of my children. I want you to have my home and to cook for me. And I started to get aroused, and my legs started opening. Yes. And I was like, ready, love, for this. I was, my gosh, and I was such in a very heightened consciousness experience that even though I was there, I really wanted to write this down. I wanted to like not forget what I was listening to, because I felt the outbreak was huge. This doesn't even mean that I am having desires of having children or being a husband, all of that. No, it's just that the way that I used to be turned on was when someone was mistreating me. Yeah. Because of my trauma. And I already integrated that. I don't feel like that at all. I feel completely deserving. I feel the love that I am. I feel enough. I feel everything that I am, not less, not more. But in my body and in the way that I was allowing myself to feel pleasure, I wasn't there yet. And this tool that you have the brilliant idea to create gave me the opportunity to do that bridge, to create that bridge in between my own sense of personal work and my own transitioning into a more loving and compassionate space of pleasure with myself into the practice of it. Yes. So not only I'm not doing it in the same way as of before, that it was kind of like more rushed and more kind of like out of necessity, like, you know, like a little pit stop. And I'm doing it as a whole ritual, as you were always suggesting, that we are going, more than suggesting, you're kind of like having a premonition of what's going to happen. You're predicting that that's going to happen. I don't feel it because when you were suggesting it, I didn't feel connected because I wasn't there. But once I realized it, it has become like, okay, I feel like making a little magic. Yeah. And so I get my thing and I start going into it. And every day, it's not that I'm stuck with the same words. Every time that I do it, I get into this presence of the masculine aspect of myself, the man that I am. Yes. And the man that I am is now a man that is stronger, that is more gentle, that is a total support, that is completely compassionate and caring. He's super hot in every way. And he has this amazing intuitive energy that allows him to know what I really want and what I really need. So I'm not only experiencing a lot of love and a lot of integration and a lot of magic and manifestation out of it, because you know more than anyone that orgasms and pleasure, it's a Kundalini experience, it brings you into manifestation. But also, I'm having a relationship that is completely fulfilling with my own personal man, which is a work and a practice that I really encourage everyone to go into. We need to be at peace with the man in ourselves if we are a woman. And if we are a man, we need to be at peace with the woman in ourselves, because it's not only feminine and masculine energy, there's an actual woman inside of us and there's an actual man inside of us.
Yeah.
And thanks to you and your energy and your idea and your generosity to share this, I am now able to not only know this, but practice it.
Right.
So that has been my experience. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I have to tell you, you know, I hear from people and their experiences with Chakrubs all the time. But what you just told me was my experience with the rose Chakrub, the rose quartz Chakrub years ago. The same thing happened where, and I've actually, I think I've written about it, but my experience, because the first 3 prototypes that I had of Chakrubs was obsidian, white jasper, and rose quartz. But I didn't try I tried the white jasper first. Then I moved to the obsidian that I worked with for like 2 years. And then it wasn't until after I worked with the obsidian that I tried the rose quartz, the heart.
Okay.
And the same feeling of I was pleasuring myself with it, and I would do the same thing where, you know, especially with the obsidian, I was like getting in touch with these desires of being talked to in this way of, you know, being punished or degraded or, you know, these things. But then when I worked with the rose quartz, the words I heard were, "I love you." And it just, and I was like, something clicked. And I was like, wait a second. It seems obvious to want to feel like you're loved while you're being pleasured. But for me, it was like this aha moment. Like I never like thought of that before, that was something that I was craving. And I started to embody that masculine within myself to become that man. And get to know him and what I felt like and what my cock feels like and what, you know, just my essence of a man felt like with this rose quartz and how I wanted to feel in a masculine presence. And so I've never heard anybody else have that experience. And and that's so special to me to hear that you say that. That's really beautiful and incredible. So thank you so much for sharing that.
My gosh, it was worth the wait. I've been asked, I told you I need to share this, but I haven't, because you see, it's very personal, and it's something that it's very intimate. It's very intimate, but I already, you know that I adore you, but this is kind of like, just, I cannot love you more than this. And that now is like, if we have that same experience, you kind of like understand exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's that relationship with the man within, and I thank you for this. And that is the beauty of what you do, that you have gone through it. I feel that we connect a lot in that you're not sharing with us something that you haven't tried yourself. Yeah. And that you haven't found a lot of awareness and evolution with it. And so I really respect that, and I really find that very generous from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I try to say, you know, I'm just experiencing this next to everyone, the whole Chakrubs community. I'm just experiencing it next to you, and we're in this together, and that's what it is. But Maria, you are so divine. Yay! You are incredible. There's been love pouring out from everybody here. Everything that you expressed just now was, I feel like everybody just drank it up, like absorbed it, like needed to like hear that like a sponge. And I mean, I'm so thankful. I just I mean, I admire you so much as a divine human, and I've been seeing Maria for years now. I go to her for guidance. She does do sessions that she can offer on FaceTime and everything. And she is just the most beautiful gift that we have. And you could see from like what she said. And yeah, Maria just